You're muted right now.
And so all of what I have said that you've been watching me talk and be so animated, sorry, I was on mute. So let's rewind the tape. Good morning, everybody. I'm Tracy Brown, and I am really, really grateful and excited to be with you today. For those of you who are watching live or participating live, then you know it is in the United States. It is Labor Day weekend, so it's a long weekend. It's maybe busy, very full weekend for you. But really, it is a time to stop and reflect and spend time with family and friends and to be grateful for all of the people who work so hard to make our lives work, to make our lives better. And that could include yourself. You can include yourself. Give yourself a pat on the back for all the labor you do that makes your life work and that helps the lives of other people work. But you know that as we think about all the work and all the workers in the world, it's also a really good time to begin to think about where we want to go next and where we want to invest our time and our energy. You know, this time of year is also when children go back to school and when it's like a fresh start, not the same way as New Year's, starting a new year, but it's starting a new season and a season where we invest in growth and in growing, a season that often unfolds into the harvest, right? And so it's a perfect time to think about how can we go where we've never gone before, which is the focus today, right? Going above and beyond, going where we've never gone before. And for me, I I am reminded of, well, it's a way that I start many prayers nowadays. And it is an homage or in honor of an African American practitioner and minister from several decades ago, whose name was Reverend Homer Johnson. Reverend Homer Johnson was a minister, a religious science minister in Southern California, in the Los Angeles area. And he was, one of the things he was known for was starting prayer with the phrase, "Let's go upstairs." Let's go upstairs, right? And I've resurrected that phrase, and hopefully a few years from now, people will say, "I remember Tracy starting prayer with 'Let's go upstairs.'" But I always want to acknowledge that I I received that inspiration from Reverend Homer Johnson. Anyway, that's what we're doing. When we decide that we want to go above and beyond, we're making a conscious decision to go upstairs, to elevate ourselves to the next level of our life experience, to ascend beyond whatever is going on in the world, whatever is going on in our circle, our little part of the world, to ascend that through the use of creating the proper mental atmosphere and the use of the spiritual practices that we have developed over time. Because think about it, our spiritual practices are not designed to have us escape our human experience. Spiritual practice is designed to help us navigate through our spiritual experiences. right? It's easy to navigate or steer your boat when the water is calm and peaceful. But the experienced captain of a ship is expert at using every resource, every tool, everything ever learned, every experience, and grabbing the steering wheel and controlling the sails if it's a sailboat, or the engine speed, or right, navigating through the storm. So if you want to go where you've never gone before, if you want to go above and beyond, if you want to go upstairs in your life, then it is absolutely critical that you understand spiritual principle and use spiritual practice in order to move ahead, to move up, to move forward. So as we are entering this new month and this new season, how perfect is it for us to be thinking about this idea of going beyond?
Boom, you're in.
All right. So I don't know what is going on with technology today, but that's what happens when you talk about going where no one has gone before. No one has gone before us today doing what we are doing in this very moment. No one has gone before living the lives that we are living. No one has gone before us and had the opportunities that we have to get it right or to make it better. So I do want to like backtrack there. The idea of get it right. It's all right. It's all correct. It's all divinity unfolding. It's all this past week I've been quoting or referring to an Ernest Holmes quote a lot where he wrote something like people complain or people say that the world is going to hell, and many of you have heard that phrase, the world's going to hell in a handbasket, which isn't a logical image, but that's okay. So, but Ernest Holmes wrote, the world, people think the world is going to hell, but really the world is just taking one step closer to heaven. So I don't know what's going on with technology today. We're having a little challenge, and the system kicked me out, and here I am back. I don't care because I'm back, right? And number two, I don't think everything is always a problem. It's just one step closer. So I'm going to backtrack a little bit because I'm not sure where I got kicked out. And what I really am thinking about, and I ask you to think about, is what would it look like? What would it feel like? What would it be like if we were going where no one has been before? Going where no one has been before. That is our challenge. And if we want to do that, we have to be ready to do things we've never done, to do things in a different way, to do things with different people, to go where we've never gone before. We must do what we've never done before. And I I I might be repeating this, and that's okay because it bears repeating over and over and over and over again. The Creator created a world that is perfect. The Creator created each one of us from its own perfection. And the fact that we have racism, homelessness, poverty, global warming, the fact that we have hatred of others and actually self-hatred in the choices we make that limit our ability to live a beautiful life, that's not on God, that's on us. We are the ones who make the choices to turn away from unity. We are the ones who make the choices to turn away from harmony. We are the ones who make the choices to turn away from love. It's love expressing in our own lives and in the lives of the collective. We're the ones who are making those choices. We could make another choice. Ernest Holmes says, there's nothing to heal, only truth to reveal. Let us be the ones who reveal unity, harmony, love, joy, beauty. Let us be the ones who reveal through our thoughts and our actions that it is truly possible to experience what in the Bible is referred to as above, so below, and what we often refer to as heaven on earth, heaven as earth, divinity through humanity. This is what science of mind teaches us, really. Some people stop at the entry point of doing your own personal work and self-improvement, or raising yourself to a higher level and having a life or building a life that you really love. It's true. Science of mind teaches us that. And science of mind teaches us that part of the reason we do this is because we are an integral part of the collective, and everything that we do is happening to, for, or creating a collective consciousness that affects our neighbor, or our neighbor who lives next door to us, our neighbor who lives 3,000 miles away from us, our neighbor who lives on the other side of the globe. And not just our neighbor, other people, but our neighbors, the fish and the fowl, our neighbors, the mountains and the clouds, our neighbors in life. So what did you jot down earlier, or if you just joined us, what is your image of what your life would look like if you were living or moving toward infinity and beyond, or if you were willing to go where no one has gone before? What would you be doing? What would you be experiencing? What would you choose if you truly were willing to live like you have never lived before? That's what I want to know. I said before, for me, the first thing that comes to mind, I can think of a lot of things, but the very first thing that came to mind as I was asking you the question, what would it look like to go where no one has gone before? The first thing that came to mind for me was replacing the consciousness that allows for race-based hatred and violence, and to actually be in community, to be in an environment, to be in a city, state, country, nation, world, global world, where there are still people that represent every race, every ethnicity, and there is no race-based hatred and violence. In Revelations, in the 12th chapter, I think there's this beautiful image of all the people coming together, and the description basically says people from all tribes, all languages, all ages, right? But they're all in white robes, but they are so different from one another. And they come together, and that is a picture of unity, them loving each other and working with each other. So yeah, this is so amazing, so amazing. Are you really ready and willing to be a part of the group of us that goes where no one has gone before? Yeah, what experiences do you have of doing that in your life? Or what are you doing now to make that happen? That's the question. I'd love for you to answer in the chat, and we'll pull it forward if you do. So let's take this a little bit further. In fact, while that's resonating or ruminating in your mind, what is coming up for me is I don't want to end our time together. I just want to anchor a little bit of this in spiritual mind treatment. I want to create a mental atmosphere for going where no one has gone before so that we can live or experience life in infinity and beyond. So simply relax, center, take a breath, go with me, and allow my words of prayer and treatment to be your own. I speak this in the first person so that you can hear it as if you were saying it and then own it. So let's go upstairs. Let's ascend to a higher level of consciousness. Let's go upstairs and know that there is only one life, one God, one presence. Let's go upstairs and recognize this one life, this one mind, this one love, this one presence as the creator of all life. Let's go upstairs and remember that this one has created everyone and everything from itself. And so the nature of the one creator is already planted as a seed within everything it creates. This allows me to remember that my life is the one life expressing uniquely in the world, and there is nothing that can change that. And that my life, just like the life of that which has created me, is an eternal life. It has no beginning or end except at different phases in different forms. This is the truth. And so I speak this word knowing absolutely for sure that I am that I am. I am the beauty and the joy. I am the love that is the source of all love in the world. I am the prosperity or abundance equal to the prosperity and abundance of leaves on a tree that are too many to count. I am that. I am unity expressing with no requirement that anyone or anything be exactly like me, and I see it as the perfection that it is. I am willing right now to go where I've never gone before. I am willing right now to go toward infinity and beyond. I am beginning with this very breath to reveal the truth of my life and the truth of all life. I'm so grateful for being ready to do this now. I'm so grateful to be able in the month of September 2021 to consider what it would be like to live as infinity and beyond. And I am so grateful this week to take a breath and know that to go where I've never been before, it's my choice to do things I've never done before. So from this place of gratitude and readiness, I simply release my word and know that it must manifest perfectly. It must manifest in ways I can imagine and in ways I cannot, because spiritual principle is at work. It never takes a vacation. It never turns its back. It only says yes, and it says yes now. So I let it be, surrender into the flow of it, know it is good, and anchor this truth by saying, Amen, Ashe, and so it is. Take a breath. So often we end our time together in prayer, but this feels really important to anchor this conversation in prayer and then begin to live the intention. So Roy says that quote, I guess I would go to a place where the Christian right was more intelligent and understand the Bible is written by man and that Jesus did not teach hate but love, and that we are children of God. Allowing and setting that mental atmosphere is a key step in then taking action, because you know what we also teach is that you treat and then you move your feet. So you treat and establish the mental atmosphere that drives your behavior, right? Our beliefs drive our behavior. Our behavior, repeated over and over again, becomes our habits. And our habits then create our life experience. So yes, Roy, that is such an amazing, amazing thing to consciously set the mental atmosphere. And when we set the mental atmosphere for ourselves and for our environment, anything that's out of alignment with that, by design, must change. So I can't change the Christian right by changing them, by telling them what they're doing wrong. I can change, I can cause a change, I can put a first cause into action by changing my belief and by changing or modeling something different for the collective, whereby, as a result of that, the universe must affect a change in someone else or some other group. Does that make sense? So in Science of Mind, we don't teach that in fact, we don't even teach that you should pray for other people for specifics without their permission, because we know that when we pray, it works. I change at a cellular level, everything changes in the invisible, and the domino effect begins. Now, yes, we can do prayer for others that are general. Like I can pray for your best and highest good, but we teach not to pray for specifics, because then I would be overlaying what I think you should do or who I think you should be. And that might not be what you want to do or who you want to be. So the way that we affect change in others is to be so clear, so consistent, and praying with complete conviction of what is in alignment with God, what is in alignment with spirit, what is in alignment with absolute truth, right? The absolute principles of love, unity, harmony, joy, beauty, peace, etc., etc. And then behaving in a way that is in alignment, believing that this is the truth, and everything else begins to change as well. So I'm just going to do a little recap. If you have any specific questions, or if you have a comment or an example of how this is working out in your mind as we dive into this month, then please drop it into the chat. We have a few more minutes. But here's the recap. The theme for this month is infinity and beyond. The focus this week is going where no one has ever gone before. And my challenge to you is to define what it would look like in your life if you were to go where you've never been before on your journey to infinity and beyond. and to journal about that, to go into prayer with that in mind, to meditate and contemplate that, because the world changes when you change, or the world changes when I change. My world and how I experience the world changes when my consciousness changes, and when I follow my consciousness with behavior. And the final thing that I would remind you of from this week is to always think of Homer Johnson, Reverend Homer Johnson, reminding us to go upstairs. When we go upstairs, it just means that we are ascending to our higher consciousness, to the uppermost consciousness. And if you know our Science of Mind Declaration of Principles, we believe that the uppermost God and the innermost God are the same God. That is what we'll be doing this week. And be reminded in the chat, I love this. We are all in a process of becoming. We are all in the process of becoming aware of who and what we are. We are all in the process of remembering that we are children of the Most High. So don't be confused by anything that's going on in your life. Don't be confused by what's happening in Afghanistan. Don't be confused by racial hatred and violence. Don't be confused by the news reports of people who are unsheltered. Do not ignore any of these things. All right, now this is important. This is a whole nother Saturday talk, right? Do not ignore. We are not trained or taught to ignore the experiences of the world. We are taught to remember that these experiences are not absolute. They are a reflection of consciousness, and we have the power and the responsibility to change our consciousness. And that is why we are always becoming, as the quote that you can see in the chat says, right? We're all in the process of becoming, choosing our consciousness, changing our consciousness, expanding our consciousness, as we remember that we are children of the Most High. We are the Most High operating in human form, in physical form. And we have the responsibility to do what we've never done before. That's about all the time that we have for this week. And I am Tracy Brown. I'm so glad that you joined us. And I want to encourage you, if this message today touched you, or if you are a regular viewer and you have learned anything, I've been reminded of any spiritual truth by any of the 7 of us who rotate through the Saturday morning Science of Mind lecture series, please make a donation to New Thought Media Network. We are here for you. We put the programming out to help you in your spiritual growth and to be in service, to be in ministry to you and the world. Every donation is appreciated and valued, and I encourage you to follow the instructions and or go to the Facebook page and click donate. Please do that. This whole month, Infinity and Beyond, and next week you're going to dive really into that with Reverend Robert Brzezinski. You don't want to miss it. I'll be in the chat with you, hanging out and adding some examples and stories. That's all for this week. Have a great weekend, everybody.